electronic money, institutions, policies, regulations, framework, countries' bilateral and multilateral relations. Today, I have distinct pleasure and honor to welcome Mr. Ioannis Georgoulas, the chairman of Aksempi, who is the chairman of the Electronic Money Association of Cyprus. My name is Dr. Marios Efthymiopoulos. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Strategy International, and this is Prime Analysis. Dear John, thank you very much for coming at another web series of Strategy International.
Marios, thank you so much for your kind invitation, and it's a pleasure to discuss with you.
It is a great honor to have the chairman of Aksempi, who's the Electronic Money Association of Cyprus that we said earlier. And electronic money is something that it really concerns us. The institutional framework concerns us. And I think we are getting more and more into this, considering the digitization, if you want, process of political economy, I will call it, all in all, that really affects our societal ecosystem. I know that we have plenty to say, but it is common in our Prime Analysis to spend a bit of time in order to produce, if you want, the outcome, which is electronic money, to talk on the interest of this personality that is really involved into this. How is John, the young John, started his vision, if you want, or his dreams, which led us to today?
So it was a very big process. Everything started many years back, when I used to be a DJ at rave parties, and I used to organize this kind of parties probably 30 years back. My interest in the electronic scene in general was coming from the beginning. I was interested in computers, and that was, let's say, my field later on with my studies. So I studied business information systems and computer science. I was composing electronic music, so I used to always have a computer with
in your hands
with me.
Yeah.
And after that, my life moved on. I entered different kind of fields and jobs, let's say. Ended up to Cyprus, and here I am with the digital currencies and electronic money, of course.
It is fascinating that you said about your life and how the the e-world, if you want, that was not there. It was a digital world. We were going into digital world. We are at the same age and decade that we were born. So I guess the framework that was changing. Suddenly we had mobile phones, and then we had computers, and then we had software engineered, and definitely music. So I guess you go with the rhythm of the thing. So I would call this a rhythm-like methodology of approach that you've done. Considering also your studies and the effect that you had done probably has influenced you. But I also know that you're very much engaged into the political world. And I guess both things go together. The electronic world is something that was really fascinating from the beginning. But we as common people may not have the accurate knowledge of information that you might have. So why don't you tell us, first of all, what is the electronic money? What is electronic money? How do we define it in the 21st century, let's say, in the development of our network, let's say, in our system, the internet itself?
Okay, electronic money in simple words is everything that you use through your debit cards or your credit cards, the transfers that you're having, and the technology that you use behind. This is electronic money. Everything that has to do with the money, that cash is not involved.
So it does request some sort of infrastructure, I guess, from on the back. It's a banking element, I guess. So it's a regulated element. So why don't you tell us a bit about the infrastructure that's on the back, the authority that is involved? How do you end up with Aksempi, for example?
Okay, so let's start from the need of Axempi. In Cyprus, we saw the rise of the electronic money and payment institutions. So now we have, I think, around 25 electronic money and payment institutions that have a license from the Central Bank of Cyprus. So everything is regulated. On top of that, banks as well, they use this.
Right. So 25 companies plus the normal sequence of the banks that we know.
Of course.
Can you give me like a couple of companies?
So let's say EcombX or TFI Markets, these are companies that have a license of an electronic money institution.
Okay.
We are not credit institutions. So credit institutions hold a different license, the banking license, and they are allowed to do different things than what we are allowed to do. The difference, let's say, is that we use technology in order to facilitate our customers. And when I say we use technology, everybody uses the technology, but we feel we are more advanced in doing so.
Right. And let me just go into this. At which point did you understand that technology has to have this sort of regulatory authorities for electronic money, and how distinguishable is for the average consumer?
This is not something that I can answer to you, but of course the authorities, European Central Bank, they realize the need. Of a different kind of license in order to, let's say, to rise competition, to boost new technologies.
Right. Yeah. I'm a person that embraces such things for a lot of reasons. To make it more simple for me, one of the things that really was ideal was the utility through your phone. I kept it like very simply. I wanted to get rid of my wallet. I want to have one artifact with me and carrying one artifact where I can do all business. And that's where my mind on electronic capability came. Now, you differ yourself obviously between credit and electronic money, which is a very distinct difference, probably operational as well, not only strategic, but it is quite essential to understand from the point of the consumer, because the consumer, from my side, at least, I consider myself as just a regular consumer. We want to make sure that we have all our credit lines and opportunities through any sort of transactions on the palm of our hand. So I can pay my bills, I can pay anything that comes through the electronic money wiring, because I also use same platforms. And at the same time, the banking sector, for me, has limited options, considering that the money is more, we're going towards more digitization. Hence why the banks also now offer similar services. But what is amazing is that while we started technology with the internet, so the World Wide Web, we're now providing services within the internet by itself. So we consider the internet being stable, and we now offer parts of services that facilitate the way of life. So is electronic money a way of life? Is it the next bold step that we are now seeing, because it blossomed? Now it's the blossoming period.
I think it's becoming an essential element of our lives, and in the near future, if not, it's not more away. I think that electronic money will prevail, and cash will. We're not going to have cash anymore. Now, having said that, I believe that when we use electronic money and not cash, it helps the state, first of all, to
taxes
to manage to get the taxes from the citizens. It's a more convenient way in order to not to get frauded, and of course
it's automated.
It's easy.
Yeah,
it's easy. I mean, you don't need to have cash. You go out and you don't have to worry that someone might come and steal your wallet.
Is there, I mean, I know where there's good, there's bad, but is there always the question of cybersecurity with this?
Cybersecurity is again an essential element of our lives.
It's an integrated element.
Yes, it's not just in the electronic money world, it's everywhere. Infrastructures, state, in your personal computer, everywhere. So cybersecurity is an element that will be, let's say, a headline from now on.
Can we give examples of electronic money as a service provider? I mean, to the customer, and then we can go a bit on Xempi. Why Xempi got created?
Actually, it's easy. You want to make a payment, you want to transfer money, you use an electronic wallet, a service, a platform that you can easily, fast, and very easy use it and
So it's an
do your
e-wallet.
job. It's an e-wallet, correct.
It's an e-wallet.
Now, the difference with others, it's the technology behind it. It's the, let's say, the costs that...
The bearing of costs.
Yes, correct.
And I think I know one company, EconBX, that doesn't have any cost, if I'm right.
From the beginning of this month, there is no cost for any European citizen that is going to open an account to provide, to transfer money.
On a SIPA to SIPA, or is it
yes.
SIPA, non-SIPA?
No, it's on euro, yes.
Oh, okay.
And we don't have, and I'm talking we because I sit on the board of the company as well, as a non-executive director. So it's there is no cap. So no matter which amount you want to send, it's for free.
On the cash flow, you mean on the wiring from
yes,
point
and
A to point B.
for retail clients.
Okay. For retail clients.
Yeah.
Okay. What about business clients?
Business is a different story, and I think that EconBX is one of the biggest electronic money institutions in this kind of business.
And you will come to tell us about EconBX, because EconBX, I see it almost everywhere. It's quite engaged into marketing as well. It's not only the good that it sells, which I know that has done a pretty good job. But tell us a bit about Xempi. I mean, you said there are 25 institutions. I guess you needed an association for that.
We needed an association, so I think 3-4 years ago we gathered together and we decided to form this association. Now we have 16 members in the association, so most of the licensed institutions in Cyprus are members of the association. We needed a collective voice for our members. We needed a body to represent us to the regulatory authorities, to be able to discuss with different groups of associations or people and promote, of course, our interests.
And I guess you must have had a great job, considering that the regulations are changing from the central bank of Europe, and then probably to the from the central bank of the country.
Yes. So this is a European framework of regulation, but we are in contact with our local regulator. We discuss changes that need to take place in our framework, and most of the times, or many of the times, they listen to what we have to say, because we have the
dialogue,
the experience. Correct.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Because you speak with the client, so
Correct.
they need to know the client to
Correct.
Client to business relations, obviously. One thing, and I think we're gonna go, if you want, to the political element slowly, because with all these things taking place, all these events taking place worldwide, I guess every day you're sitting there trying to decipher what is happening and how the finances will go on. But the war, for example, I'm just taking one example, which is a milestone. The attack of Russia into Ukraine has created a havoc financially. Tell us about this. How did it affect you? I mean, not client relations, but how did it affect the new regulations that came in? They came SWIFT regulations, and also coming from the US, not only from the European Union.
Correct. This was, let's say, a shock when this happened. The good and the good thing is that many of the companies didn't have Russian clients as such. Some others that had, they needed to get rid of them immediately. Of course, there are sanctions. So you cannot have clients coming from sanctions lists. Companies like our companies, they watch every day the list that they have
Whatever
new
they
input
publish,
every day. So we follow rules and regulations like everyone else.
Did it affect the rest of us? Did it affect the way that we do business for the rest of us? Or did we make it more swift, more protective, and more institutionally based? I understand that, but more effective for the average European?
Actually, it depends. If you're talking about the energy prices, of course, energy prices went up. Now, if you're talking for other kind of businesses, again, it depends the relations that a company or a country had with Russia. I'm pretty sure that we are affected as Europe by the sanctions that are still there, but this is something that we had to do because of what Russia had done.
Yeah. Okay, I want to divert a bit the discussion into something else that goes in a bit back in history and comes back to it. Trade wars. Trade wars, first time that we hear trade wars is with the first period of presidency of Donald Trump. 45th president back then, 47th president today. And now, slowly but steadily, with all the changes taking place within the US and outside the US, there are some small articles coming out in the world news or media or institutions or think tanks and so on and so forth that say that trade wars are coming back. Tariffs 25% on China to the US, and goes back and forth. How does this affect your business or not? Or is it something that goes directly to the consumer? How does it affect an institution of electronic money, considering wiring or business transactions, or the whole inflation rates going up or going down, for that matter, or interest rates going down? How does it affect an institution as such?
So first of all, it affects everyone. When tariffs are in place, it affects the consumer in different ways. It doesn't mean that it will be directly, it can be indirectly. Now, United States, they have a very big weapon, which is they have, let's say, a big influence into the SWIFT system.
Right.
SWIFT is a messaging secure system that is in the banking sector, and it sends messages for transfer of funds, secure and fast. Now, many times we see that United States have used this system in order to sanction banks, countries, etc. I think that the time has come for Europe to develop its own transaction system similar to SWIFT, in order to be able to take care ourselves of our own sanctions, or what to be able to design our own, let's say, agenda when it comes to trade wars.
I have to be honest towards our audience that since, and that is your rhythm, that since you're playing with these elements, you're also a good writer in a variety of newspapers, especially here in Cyprus, but also in Greece. And you're, if not the first one that I've read, one of the first people that you actually said this exact thing, that we should do it a SWIFT EU level. And I know, because we kind of briefly discussed about it, it's really important, but this changes a lot the infrastructure, and it gives the opportunity for Europe to make sanctions by itself.
Yes. So don't get me wrong, SWIFT is based in Europe. And
it's a European element, of course.
It's owned by the banks, but the the political system in the United States has influence into the system through the American companies that
But you're trying to,
participate.
what I understood from your article is you're trying to centralize it. That's what you
Yes,
want to do in
correct,
order to be next to the political decision making.
correct,
So your idea is to connect the dots, basically, the political with the financial element. And
correct.
I find it as very interesting and very intriguing as an idea because we seek solutions. And slowly, if you want, we're getting into the political arena that you're also involved in. I would like to hear a bit of your background with the political elements, but it is really important because electronic money, in many times, has been misunderstood vis-a-vis another form of digital currencies, which is cryptocurrencies, these are two distinct things. So before we go to the political things, I want you to clarify this because I guess this helps us understand what is electronic money versus crypto.
Correct. Electronic money is totally different than cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies is the known currencies that we see like Bitcoin or other, let's say, cryptos that exist there. Electronic money is the way that we use our own money, the real money, let's say, the existing money. So there is a big difference between these two, at least for the moment. I don't know what is going to happen in the future, but for now, and of course, our companies, the companies that we have as members, they don't deal with cryptocurrencies. But there is a new regulation, MiCA, coming from ESMA, the European Authority of Capital Markets, and is trying to regulate this this area.
This area.
So PSPs, companies that provide cryptocurrencies, crypto exchanges, will
So
be.
they will become as service providers to probably the electronic money or banks?
So the authorities are trying to, let's say, make them mainstream.
As a choice of either analogical or crypto?
Yes. I mean, it was up to now it was an unregulated market, so anyone could do whatever.
It's non-linear with the system.
Yes, it's better to regulate something like this when you have real investors that are investing in this area. So it's better to have a regulated market than have them unregulated. Now, we have to understand that cryptocurrencies are here; they will stay. It's not something that we should avoid looking at. And we are going to see somehow, let's say, of an integration into the system. And companies...
Do we have like a date or...
Actually, MiCA is here. So there are licenses that are given, and there are companies that will be able to provide this service, regulated now. And from what I know, there is a big will from the United States in this space. They are looking into this space, and it's something that the new administration realized that they are keen to have in the United States. There are big companies that have developed funds, and these funds are investing into cryptocurrencies, mostly Bitcoin, which is the most
suddenly they
popular.
Have the capital investors into
Correct.
this.
Correct.
Yeah, so suddenly they start adapting with a system because as I know, crypto is a software engineered mining element, so it's totally digital. It is not physical in nature.
Correct.
Correct. But I guess because of the wealth, they try to tax it. So in order to tax something, you need to be able to regulate it somehow.
Yes.
Okay. A parenthesis. Did you ever expect in your life while you were a student, because while you were talking, I was thinking of this, to reach to this level? Honest.
When I was a student, I always thought that my life would be being a DJ. So that was.
But this is music also. It's music to your ears.
Music was my life. Music is still my life, but in a different way now. So when I was young, I think that I had nothing else in my mind than except electronic music.
Okay, and since we did this this small, if you want, break on those things, how did you end up with the political element? I know you have another hat, which is the political element. You have a personal interest on politics. You have personal interest on social engagement. I will call it, because politics can be a bit more designated. But you started with an interest, as a social interest, to be involved in the political community, if I can call it like this, in the public domain of the political community. Tell us a few things about this.
So I was always into politics since I was young. My father inspired me in doing so. My father was involved actively in the political scene in Greece. So I was from a young age a member of a political party in Greece. Growing up, I lost the appetite for anything that had to do with politics, and this appetite came back when the current Prime Minister of Greece ended up being the chairman of New Democracy in Greece. I left my country. I left Greece to come to Cyprus, and I always had in the back of my mind that what had to be done in order to change policies in Greece and bring back people that like me that left.
Right.
So this is how it.
So that was the common denominator of being, because I know the Prime Minister had this policy of trying to bring back the Greeks from abroad.
Correct. This doesn't mean that I'm going back, but
yeah, because life is much more complicated after a while.
Correct.
I mean,
Correct.
family, business,
Correct.
and all this. I mean,
Correct.
you can just
but
get up and go.
It was the need and the appetite to change things in Greece. Except that now I'm involved into politics in Cyprus as well, with the sister party of New Democracy, which is the Democratic Rally, and I'm involved mostly into the digital policy aspect. I'm the head of this sector of the Democratic Rally.
The Democratic Rally created a shadow government, if I can call it like this in English, and it abides by the pillars of the government policy, and everybody's attempting to get a policy on this. And you are in electronic money and digital.
Digital policy.
Digital policy. You call it digital. Overall digital policy.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. So yes, hence also why also these very interesting articles that you're publishing in the newspapers. So since you are into a political world, let's go into the political aspect of things. I'm a professor as well. I'm a professor of international affairs and security. But I want to see your point of view. I'll start with the Middle East. Middle East is next to us. Tell us a few things. How do you see things? How do you envision things? I'm going a bit in the international arena because it also affects economics, trade, society, management, investments, and so on and so forth. But how do you see things? I mean, you must be reading and looking at what is happening around us. How do you see things?
So it's the first time I've seen in my life anything like this happening in our region. I recently realized the importance of having good allies, and what is happening in Cyprus and Greece with the association, let's say, in the relationship with Israel and the United States is very important. It is very sad what has happened in Lebanon, what is happening in Syria, what has happened in Gaza, but it looks like things had to change. So the Middle East was, let's say, sitting on a bomb, and this bomb has exploded. Now, I'm not able to judge what is going to happen in the future, but I see a lot of influence of the countries of the Gulf. Right. So the countries of the Gulf with Israel, I must say.
The Abrahamic Accord countries.
Yes. I think that they are going to change the region in a better way. And we are fortunate enough to be next to this place, but
as
not
a pivot, as a European pivot, but at the same time not fully engaged into this.
Correct.
Do you think, I want to go a bit on the US, but before I go to this, do you think that Cyprus has a role into this?
Cyprus has a very big role.
Geographical, geopolitical, economic, you name it.
Everything that you said is correct and true. So economic, we saw that after the wars, many people from Lebanon and Israel came to Cyprus to open their companies, to be able to continue their lives, and we see that they live here without any problem between them. So economic-wise, Cyprus has already played a role.
Right.
And don't forget that we are the doorstep of the Middle East in Europe and into the Western world.
Right.
Now, Cyprus again is a safe place. So anything that happens in the region happens through Cyprus.
Right.
So if someone
business-wise, you mean?
No, now I'm talking about security. So if someone
safety and security.
Yes. So for evacuation, let's say purposes, Cyprus is being used in order to evacuate areas.
It's a corridor.
In the Middle East.
Right.
And of course, we saw what has happened with President Christodoulidis and this Amalthea, Amalthea project that it was developed, and the idea was coming from Cyprus. So I think that Cyprus has a very big role to play in different policies and aspects of this region.
The Amalthea thing, and since we're going to politics, we may have the opportunity to criticize a bit on this. The Amalthea, as an idea, is fascinating. It's a humanitarian relief element. Do you think it's successful?
Anything that has to do with humanitarian efforts has to be successful. And the fact that even some people got relieved, let's say, by this, let's say, try, I think that made it successful. The other thing that I find interesting is that countries like the United States and countries in the European Union
and the Gulf, they embraced it.
And the Gulf embraced it.
Yeah.
And they still think that it was a very good project.
But not the only one.
Correct.
Because at some articles, the international articles, they claim that no matter what happens on Amalthea, the airlifting may be the most fast and swift progress of humanitarian relief. That was before the borders opened, and that was also before the starting of exchange of the hostages to Israel. And we are still in the process of attempting to see whether there can be any kind of truce into this. But Amalthea was only the starting point. Somehow the relationship also with the United States started to develop. How do you envision this? How do you see this? What do you have to say on this?
I think that it's probably the most important thing that we've ever done in our foreign policy. We are a member of the European Union. We belong to this part of the world. United States is the leader in many aspects, the leader in security, the leader in economic power. So the shift that we have done, and the fact that we have finally chosen a side, it's very.
This is the success story.
Yes.
The clarity from that beginning.
Correct.
But now let's unfold. We're unfolding now. We're unfolding processes. We're unfolding institutionalizations. We're unfolding checks and balances. We're unfolding political promises that need to be applied. I know that the United States has also signed, it did its dues from its point of view. It has upgraded, has also received the President of the Republic of Cyprus to the Oval Office with the former President Biden. And now we have a new President Trump, whom we're expecting some further development with regards also with the relationship with Greece and Cyprus. What do you think will happen? I know it's heavy, but But the idea is also to ignite, if you want, a discussion. You don't have to go obviously into details, but because you're engaged into the business world, I believe that the combination between the business world and the political world matters. So your opinion is cherished to me, considering that you see the transactional, if you want, environment. So what do you say on this?
From what I've seen from my side, we have fulfilled all our engagements, let's say, with the United States administration, even if it's the previous one. But don't forget that Trump was again the president of the United States, and back then we had very good relationships, and all this is a process. It didn't start yesterday. Everything started some years back. A pivotal year was 2018. But in order to come there, we had an ongoing, let's say, process coming from the previous government of Cyprus when they came to power 2013.
Right.
So
President Anastasiadis.
Yes, I don't think that many things are going to change. I think that this process will keep moving. We will be coming closer and closer to the United States in terms of business, in terms of security. We have companies that believed in Cyprus, companies coming from the energy sector. We have the banking sector now that is helping Cyprus with the correspondent banks and other ways. The biggest investors in Cyprus are coming from the United States in the financial world. So I'm very positive that this will keep on.
And what about the digital world? What about digitization, infrastructure, logistics in Cyprus to the world?
Okay, so this is a very big subject.
Sure.
So Cyprus has shown that believes in the future, believes in the digitalization. Many companies are having Cyprus as their base in order to provide digital services in other parts of the world, and especially Europe when it comes to, let's say, electronic money and services in this sector. We see that Cyprus
It's blossoming.
is becoming, if it's not already,
what about
a
the
hub.
basic infrastructure for protection, for logistics, and so on?
Actually, this is something that is concerning me. Let's say the current government has to, I think, to do more in the fields of cybersecurity and the protection of critical infrastructures of the country. I'm not sure that we have managed to become, let's say, an average country in this field in the European Union. I think that we lack of cybersecurity. The cybersecurity authority is doing a very good job here, but I believe the deputy ministry of research and innovation has to do more. Again, the private sector is on a very good level in this field, and I'm positive that the private sector will drag the public sector in this.
Don't we need to have a regulatory connection between private and public sector, like the law in Greece, for example, the collaboration between public and private sector?
We always and everywhere have to have this kind of collaboration.
An agreement, yeah.
Of course, and agreements. The private sector is always one step ahead than the public sector. At least
the public sector regulates, creates laws. The governments.
Yes, so we need regulation, but the regulation has to be there in order to secure and balance and not to kill innovation.
Right. That's very important. Innovation is a key word in this element, and I'm not sure yet that we have reached the level of innovation. We say innovation, but we don't know what innovation may be. I'm talking about the private sector, or I'm talking about even the public sector in some instances. We have a lot of laws, regulations, good ideas, but we need to put it on a time frame. And I think one of the criticisms I'm also doing is that, okay, I need a time frame from this period of time to this period of time and deliverables. And we see in the government that he has done some few steps on the digital citizen and on e-signatures. What's next?
So what you said is very important, and I think that the government has done good steps on this in order to facilitate the lives of the citizens. But I don't think that getting something ready from another country can be translated into innovation.
Right.
So, from the one hand, it's a very good, let's say, thing that we got these services and it will be implemented. They are being implemented, and more of them will be implemented soon. But we need to have our own strategy. We need to know ourselves where we're going. We need to, let's say, develop our own processes.
Right. I guess the constitutional system is different also. So you need to have some
Correct.
synchronization, I guess, with
Correct.
the constitutional aspects, the legal aspects, and so on and so
Correct.
forth. So I
Correct.
guess it's the infrastructure, the application may look alike, but the back end, as we say, may be different from the process to the delivery.
Correct. And we need to have our own innovation.
Right.
This is how you develop innovation. There are
Maybe we need a minister of innovation.
we do have. I mean the
Minister, but there's
the deputy
constitutional
minister.
constraints. Yes, yes.
The deputy ministry is also an innovation ministry, and don't forget that in Cyprus we have also the chief scientist.
Right.
There are people in the government
Yeah.
that have to take care of this very important aspect in the country.
I had a discussion with the chief scientist recently. We had a collaboration, and we will hope to bring him also on Prime Analysis to talk. A great man, very knowledgeable, very capable. He's gone extensively into the artificial intelligence of things. I will call it like this. I know for those that understand the Internet of Things, that I'm calling it the artificial intelligence of things. Why? Because everything is automated now. So the innovation for me, you know what it is? Cloud computing. That's innovation for me. And the blending of all these combinations of all technological aspects. And I'm stuck with a strategy. I'm still missing a strategy because that strategy affects health, defense, education, way of living, commodities, logistics, outgoing and incoming information, and so on and so forth. So for me, a real innovation is the one that really sees it to the root of things. And what we actually do, we take the analogic and we take it in a digital system, which we don't just take it, we just facilitate it. So these things have to be blended there. And correctly put, yes, we have I said the Minister of Innovation. Why? Because we have a deputy ministry. We don't have a minister. We have a deputy minister of innovation, and that is a constitutional, as I understand, aspect of Cyprus. But the necessity is there, and we have to say it. The chief scientist also is a necessity which needs to be upgraded. So it's a support element we're talking about at this point. But how do you envision things? I mean, since we're wrapping up a bit, but how do you see this? I mean, you are in the electronic world. You are working with the main infrastructure process that says electronic money facilitates process. It is a process. How do you compute with all these changes taking place within Cyprus?
Okay, Cyprus is a small place, so it's very easy to develop collaborations between the public and the private sector. So, from the one hand, you need more of the private sector to be involved in the public space. Second, you need people with vision in the government in order to be able to change things, to make changes. I agree on the one hand that we need very fast to facilitate some things in order to make people lives better. But on the other hand, we need to develop our own processes and our own innovation. Again, when you have on the one hand Greece and on the other hand Cyprus, as you already said and mentioned, we have two different constitutions, so things cannot be the same. And I would say that the way that some ministries are working needs to change. So the way that processes are being, let's say, developed there needs to change. We are in the year 2025, and in the ministries there are, let's say, sectors that they work like they used to be in the 1980s. So there are structural changes that need to take place, and vision.
although I'm wrapping up prime analysis, our prime analysis for today. I was thinking Dodge in the U.S. and Elon Musk, what he's doing. This is a way of swiftly going into the ministries, cutting this, cutting that, changing this, changing that. We're yet to see some sort of actual results, practical in how these things are going to be administered. But I have to agree that if being a small country actually can be an example. And if you want to compare, is Estonia. Estonia is a huge comparison that we have not reached not even 20% of the capabilities of Estonia. And for a lot of reasons, on everything. And also other countries, like the United Arab Emirates. Biometric, for example, information on passports and IDs. You can get your passport within 10 minutes if you're a citizen in the UAE, by just sending a specific picture from your phone to the digital authority that produces your passport with digital elements exactly as affiliated to the European ones, because they have adopted also the biometrics in order to be able to travel around the world. One of the strongest passports in the world. And again, in some countries, it may take 2 weeks. In some countries, it may take 1 week, and sometimes it may take 24 hours. They've done it in 10 minutes. So there is a place to embrace. And also Estonia, everything is digital, everything. Like literally everything is digital. And at the same time, the reason why it was digital by 2007 was also the attack that Russia did in Estonia, and hence Estonia became a pivotal country by the creation of the COE as a center for cybersecurity and so on and so forth, as the digital ecosystem to build. So I think there is maneuverability, and also in public administration. John, I know that we can go for hours together and go into deeper things, but this was only a first start, and I really enjoyed the discussion, and
Same
also
here.
because we clarified things more to our audience than everything else. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Marius, and honestly, I hope to be able to do it again soon.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all for watching another web series of Prime Analysis. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow into our social media and YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Marios Efthymiopoulos. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Strategy International. And remember, impact makes a difference.